What up? How you guys doing? Look at this. Beautiful, bright skies. Blue. Look a little green, but blue skies. Sun's coming up over the east. The moon is still in the east for some reason. They're both out. Whatever. Anyway. It's just a beautiful day. It was really cold when I first got down here. What, you know, and then, of course, once you start exercising, when I first walked in, I was like, man, I should have wore another hoodie or like a sweatshirt or something or a thermal. But now I'm sweating after my first round. I did my push-ups. I always dread doing push-ups, man. I'm like, I come up to the spot where I do them, and I'm like, oh, I don't want to freaking do them. And then I force myself to do them, and then I feel better after. It warms me right up, you know. And, I just wanted to touch base with everybody about, what is it, day 34 of No Excuses for 2024, the year of the warrior, right? You're going to spend this year worrying or fighting for your life like a warrior, fighting for your family, fighting for your success like a warrior, right? And again, you know, I said it before, you know, it doesn't mean fake macho shit. And don't get me wrong, self-defense and family defense and community defense, you know, that's a real thing. You got to keep your people safe, right? You got to keep yourself safe. You got to protect yourself before you can protect anybody else, right? Just like forgiveness, right? I couldn't forgive anybody until I was able to forgive myself for the damage that I've done. You know, I said in another video about how I always blamed everybody else for my problems, right? And like, you know, sure, I mean, if you want to make excuses, I can make excuses. I can make a lot of excuses, right? I can, whatever one comes to mind, you know, my shitty childhood, being in poverty. Shit, I had so we lived in the projects, right? It was, the projects were so nasty in the 70s. I had a goddamn cockroach crawl in my left ear, it's just living in there. So this is like 3-4 days, man. I heard this noise as it would be scratching at the wax at your eardrum, eating it. And nobody believed me, you know, because you couldn't see it. You couldn't hear. I could hear it. It was the loudest thing I ever heard in my life. And I've been to Slayer concerts and Motorhead concerts. You know what I mean? Excuse me. Excuse me. But, you know, I had to go get that thing sucked out. That's how rough the projects were that I lived in. You know, that's how rough the fucking hood was that I lived in. You know, and the neighborhood wasn't much nicer. You know, I mean, it was a rough area. Broken glass everywhere. You know, it was the 70s. There wasn't no plastic bottles really, and you know, a lot of poverty, a lot of downtrodden people, depressed. You know, and like I said, a lot of trauma. But, you know, I mean, can I use all that? Can I use, you know, but yeah, sure. Like this morning, you know, it seemed really cold out, you know, and then like I take my supplements and like it messes with my stomach for a little while. And I'm like, you know, who's gonna know? Excuse me. I'm like, who's gonna know? You know what I mean? Like, but like, I'm like, no, just as soon, like get up. Like I got out here early, man. I got out here before 7:30, you know, I got out here first light. The sun hadn't even come over the mountain yet or through the trees, you know. It was light out, but, you know, no sun in the face yet. And, you know, it feels good. I don't think there's anybody down here yet. You know, there might be on my walk back this way. Who knows? It doesn't really matter. It's just nice to have, like, time to yourself, right? Time to yourself. I always think of, like, you know, I never think of the mountain, right? Like when I come in here and you got to go up these two big ass freaking hills, they're pretty steep. And, you know, I don't look at the top. I don't look at the top of the mountain, right? I just look at the steps in front of me, you know, and if I just focus on the steps in front of me, it's easy. That's easy to do. You focus on the end, the you know, the pinnacle of the mountain, the top of the mountain, the summit, and you're at the bottom. It's going to seem so daunting to get to the top, you know? So I focus on one step at a time, right? My first step in the morning is getting up, stretching out, you know, doing some neck mobility exercise, shoulder mobility exercise, because I got some issues, you know, dips, you know, I come down here, I do push-ups, have my coffee, you know, before I leave the house, and then I come down here and make it happen, right? And I'm not, you know, I'm not doing anything crazy. You know, this is basically my gym, and it's free, you know, and it's lovely to be out here early in the morning, especially when the sun's up and we ain't seen it in like a week, you know. It's a little icy out still, but it's decent. And, you know, that's what I focus on. I focus on the first step. That takes me to focus on the next step and the next first step, right? Because each step is a new beginning, right? The closer you get to that summit, the closer you are to your new you. Like I always say, you know, my life is very different, right? My life is completely different today, but not much has changed. Do you understand what I'm saying? Like, I still have my girl, I still got my kids, we live in a nice house, we live in a nice community, I still got my barbershop, you know, and like, that stuff didn't change, right? Luckily, because I threw the freaking wrench into that program many a time with my girl, with my kids, with my ex, with community, at the barbershop, like, you know. And so those things, I mean, they've changed. Even though they remain the same, they're different now, right? Because I'm different. I've changed my attitude. You know, I still fall into that funk sometimes. I say, these are my two favorite trees right here, by the way. If you're into grounding and all that, they come through here each time, you know, hug up on this jammy. But I'm just saying, you know, my life is the same, but completely different. Does that make any sense to anybody else? You understand what I'm saying? My life is the same, but now it's completely different. It hits differently now, right? Because I hit differently now. I'm a man of my word, for the most part. You know what I mean? I falter sometimes, you know? I feel less than. I feel like not doing shit a lot of the time, right? But what I do today is, even if I don't feel like doing shit, I do it. Especially if it's something positive, right? Negative shit, oh yeah, I'm like, yeah, give me a cigarette, you know what I mean? Let me hit that vape, let me, you know what I mean? But if it's positive, I'm resistant, you know? So I don't resist it today, you know? I get up, I get right up, you know, drink a big ass glass of water and get my day started, you know? And one of the you know, the major things that I do is come down here, because it gives me time to think. It gives me time for my walk-in meditation. It gives me time to think about my yesterday, right? And see how I can make it better today, or how I'm benefiting today from my yesterday, you know? I say it all the time, you know, I sound like a freaking broken record, but, you know, that fake comfort that you're freaking relying on every day, that couch, you know, that coffee mug, that's the same cup, the same fork, the same plate, the same 5-6 meals every week. You know, you order out on a Friday, you know, you do this, you watch this show at this time, you know, you talk to this person at this time, and blah, 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 blah. And it all seems very familiar and comfortable, right? And it's easy to slide into that, you know, and negativity as well. You know, I try not to talk bad about people. I slip into it sometimes, you know, but I try not to do that. You know, I try to keep it positive, you know, no matter what. And even if I'm talking with someone and they're like, yeah, they fucking about, and I'm like, well, you know, they're struggling, or that, you know, we don't know their struggle, we don't know their story, you know. And but you know, it when you see the same thing over and over again, the same problems, the same issues, and no solutions, it's hard to not talk shit. But I'm getting to that point where I'm like, is this conversation positive? Is this a conversation that I would want somebody else having about myself? And a lot of times the answer is no, you know. So what are you going to do today to discard that fake comfort and get into real comfort of living life? You know, you got to ask yourself. All right, peace, everybody. Have a great day. I love you. Hope you get out there. It's a beautiful day. It's what is it? Day 34 of No Excuses 2024, Year of the Warrior. February 3rd. It's beautiful out. Peace, everybody. Have a great